United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have the attendance.
Okay. Consideration to approve the proposed agenda for the June 5th, 2019 Board of Directors meeting.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Elaine, seconded by Diane. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration to approve the minutes of the May 1st and May 15th Board of Directors meeting. Moved by Brad, seconded by Jolene. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Business finance consideration. Business finance reports. Finance Committee report of June 5th meeting. Next meeting, July 3rd at 10 a.m.
I can take it. Carol's not here. That's fine. So, I thought Peggy McKenzie did a great job reporting this morning. As always, the usual, our revenues are exceeding our expenses. In our general operating budget, food service is catching up, as we always do as the year moves on. Adult education is in great shape with it revenue ahead of expense. The one item that the Finance Committee, I hope someone on the Finance Committee that was there this morning will vouch for. Every year, talk to the board about this in finance. We work hard at the end of the year to thoughtfully expend our budget, so we move 5% potentially between one article to the other article. So there will be a vote after I'm done chatting about the business finance report that authorizes me to move money. Last year we didn't have to move any, but it just gives flexibility to thoughtfully expend our dollars at year end. So that'll be the vote after this report.
Any questions for Carl? Any comments from the Finance Committee?
Yeah, we also elected Carol Levitt as chairperson
Thank you, Jackie. We did in fact do that.
unanimously.
In about 2 seconds, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. On the action items, consideration to authorize the superintendent pursuant to 14854 of the Maine Revised Statutes to transfer money between budget cost center lines in the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget.
So moved. Second.
By Diane, seconded by Jackie. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Curriculum reports from the curriculum coordinator.
Thanks. So we always love the month of May when we get to do kindergarten screening. It was one of our favorite stories this year was a little boy was about to have his ears tested, and the nurse said, "So I'm going to test your ears," and he said, "No, they're fine. You don't have to check them." So we thought that was adorable. But we do. So we have registered 71 students. Earlier in the year, we were a little nervous, thinking we might have a class of only 50, but we're at 71, so we're very comfortable and excited about that. I've provided for you kind of an ongoing list of our averages of how we've been doing for the last few years. The number of letters that this group can identify is a little lower than the average than we'd like to see. It's 18.4, and concepts about print, which are those things like knowing how to hold a book, is 5.7, so approximately they know half of the concepts about print. We do have a large incoming population of special education students in this group of kindergarten, so already identified, so we know what their needs are, and we're already working on planning for those. Earlier, the curriculum committee and the board heard about ALICE, which is a new procedure for safety that we've been looking into. It stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. We had a team of administrators and teachers volunteer to go through the training so we could make a very informed decision about if this is something that we should do for the safety of our students. We believe it is very worthwhile, and it is something that our teachers need to participate in the training. So when we present our new emergency plan or our revised emergency plan that we do every year in July, we're going to make that change in that program. It will be, we're anticipating that we'll do the training on the opening workshop day. It'll take about 4-ish hours, but it will give our teachers some new ways to think about incidents that happen in school and how to be better prepared. Pre-K enrollment is still going on. We've screened 25 students. We have 32 available slots. We're doing another screening on Friday, June 14th, so if there are any community members that are still interested, we do have a few spots left. We were disappointed to hear the news that we were not one of the sites, our grant was not awarded one of the sites for the 21st Community Learning Center grants. We call it the STAR grant, so the after-school program at the middle school. We do use some other limited grant funding that we have through some other title grant funding to pay for some after-school opportunities, so we'll continue to do that. That's the coding club and some of those other small ones, but we won't have the large STAR grant. We're busy planning for summer school, hoping to see lots of students to make sure there's not a summer slide and that they get their needs met. We are busy looking at our NWA results, which teachers that I've been talking to, things look really great. So I think our students made some really great progress. We'll be anxious to share that in depth with the curriculum committee and then with all the board at the state of the schools. And again, we'll be working on our comprehensive needs assessment and our Title I plan that's due every year to the state. So anyone who's interested in participating in those certainly can contact me.
Any questions for Sue? Thank you, Sue. And the official committee report of May 8th meeting.
The curriculum committee met at 3 o'clock on May 10th. The robotics team from the middle school shared their experiences and provided an exhibition of some of the activities that their robots could do. We watched a video that the students submitted for the international competition. Team Bots made it through 5 missions to place in the top 5% in the international competition. What a great accomplishment for a first-year robotics program. The committee was impressed with the commitment of the teachers and the enthusiasm of the students. The teachers' use of the free materials at reusable resources, it's a mouthful, to provide for many of the tools that the students would need to accomplish their tasks again showed our teachers going above and beyond to help our students. We applaud them for their efforts. Next year's program could accommodate up to 24 students. We look forward to more meetings with this dedicated group. Jolene Perkins was unanimously elected chair of the committee, and she'll give a short speech, right? The committee reviewed some of the 2019 main education bills. When the legislature closes out this session, the committee will take a close look at how this will affect our curriculum. The meeting adjourned at 4:45.
Any questions for Nancy? Thank you, Nancy. I think she was kidding about the report.
I believe so.
Yeah, okay. Adult Education Committee report on the May 7th meeting. Wes.
Okay. The Adult Education Program Committee held a quarterly meeting on May 6th of this year. The director, David Durkee, was absent, therefore a brief meeting with limited content was conducted. The committee reviewed progress of the current spring courses, enrollment, and participation period to approach anticipated goals set during the months of pre-programming. The new fall semester class course and schedules will be to be offered are planned to go to print the first week of July, and that's it. Short meeting.
Any questions for Wes? Okay, thank you, Wes. The Lake Region Advisory Committee report on May 3rd meeting.
The meeting was held at Sacopee Valley Middle School on May 3rd. Embedded credits were the main topic of conversation. The purpose was to note where physical education, health, and art standards may be addressed in some of the courses offered. Each of the 3 participating schools had guidance counselors, principals, and/or superintendents in attendance. Each course was discussed using the lens of the curriculum standards to see if an individual case's standards would have been met. The emphasis was on the potential for meeting the needs of the individual students. Walt Ridlin gave a brief presentation on other activities in which students had participated. Examples were a field trip to Providence, Rhode Island, looking at the 4 levels of construction. 3 speakers who were school dropouts but now owned businesses came and spoke to the students. And a field trip for automotive students to Days Logging. And if you get questions, I think Diane can probably answer those. It was a very positive meeting. They always are. They're very enjoyable.
Thank you. Any questions for Nancy on that meeting? Okay, Technology Committee report on the May 29th meeting.
Great. So the largest thing that's happening in the world of technology is First Class. It's not going to exist after June 30th. We'll be transitioning all of our email to the Google email platform. email addresses will not change. They'll still be sad55.org, but the way that teachers, staff, and school board members access their email will change. It will be through Google. We'll be offering lots of professional development on that during the summer, but there is going to be a pop-in session for any board members that might not have their school email forwarded to their own personal email and you use First Class. That's going to be on Monday, June 17th. So if you want to pop in, Tammy McNulty will be here in this room all day seeing staff members. They also talked about, we're very excited, Apple Classroom is going to be a new tool that teachers will have at their fingertips. Currently, teachers cannot see students' laptops unless they go or they're standing behind them, but with Apple Classroom, a teacher will be able to be at their laptop and see all of the screens. They can click a button and black out all of the screens. They can click a different button or different buttons, and students have to stay on a certain website. So they're very excited about this tool to really focus what students are doing on their laptops. They also talked about video announcements, what the middle school and the high school are doing, and the elementary school is hoping to start doing video announcements every morning. Those are using YouTube Live, which is a free tool. And the other thing that Chuck noted is technology plans are not being reviewed by the state right now. If you remember, the board is every 3 years approves our technology plan, so that's in flux. That may or may not be required anymore.
Yeah, but that next review is in 2020.
Yes.
Brad?
So, up until this point, Mr. McLaughlin or no one else can access what the kids are looking at on their laptops?
Oh, absolutely. Chuck could from his perspective, but a classroom teacher did not have on their own laptop a way to see just the class of 20.
But going forward, the teachers, each teacher will be.
Yes, you would have with just your class list right in front of you, small screens of every individual students. But at any time in the past, Chuck could go in and see any individual student's laptops. But it's just a different tool right in the classroom. The teacher will be able to see that.
So I guess then the following question to that would be, what is the obligation? I don't know exactly how to express this, of a teacher to report what they think is or might be inappropriate use of the laptop.
What's their obligation? I think they have a strong obligation to report if a student's doing something inappropriate, and I think they do. I know teachers check students' history, and students expect that, just to know, hey, I'm going to come over at any time, and you need to show me your history. And if your history's been cleared, I'm just going to assume that you've been doing something that you haven't been doing. This is more, the Apple Classroom tool is intended to do less about catching students doing things inappropriately, but to be able to more focus them. As we all know, if your laptop's open in front of you and the teacher's giving directions, it's real easy to divert your eyes to that, even if it's the assignment you're supposed to be working on. And now the teacher will be able to really control that tool, and with a click of the button, black out the screens, or a click of the button, send them to the right spot, right website. It'll just be a way to manage the tool better.
So currently, teachers can go to that history and look?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. I'm sorry if I led you to believe that we
Well,
were
I
not
didn't
tracking
know.
where students were going.
You didn't lead me to believe anything, I just didn't ask.
Maggie?
So Suzanne, they can access whatever class is in their room at that time? So
Yes.
every class then?
Yes. And we had that tool on a limited basis. It was another program called Land School. It didn't work that well. It was pretty complicated. This works incredibly well, and every teacher will have access to it. We've been waiting for Apple to do this. They did it with iPads 2 years ago. They told us it was coming for laptops, and it's finally here. And to add on good news that I forgot, back to my curriculum report, because it happened after I wrote it, we were recipients of the JMG grant. So we do have a Jobs for Maine Graduates program awarded to us for 3 years, 100% free or 100% funded by grants at the high school. So we're very excited to have JMG returning to the high school to provide that opportunity for our students.
What does that grant provide?
It funds the cost of the program in entirety. The funding, which is mostly the teacher.
Any Any other questions on the technology? Okay.
Well, if Sue Day went back, I just want to go back, if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So to Nancy's report on Lake Region and the programs there, I just had a chance to get invited to a seniors co-op presentation. I think I can say his name is positive. It was Wyatt Goff, presented about a hunting camp that he wanted to run in I think it was the Allagash, and it was like a 20-page report with costs and startup, how to get funding from banks. I was hugely impressed by the detail and the quality of presentation Wyatt Goff presented to a team of people at 17, 18 years old. I would not have been able to make a similar presentation. It's almost as if he's ready to go to a bank and really pursue what he wants to do. So I think co-op was a smashing success, and I think Wyatt's an example of what kids can accomplish through Lake Region and vocational type program is tremendous. So just a positive shout out to Wyatt, if I'm sure he's watching.
Next student present to MLTI.
Oh, yes, and as part of the tech report, if you'd like to mention Abby, Miss Day, MLTI.
Sure. So Abigail Sanborn presented in front of over 1,200 students, teachers, and educators at the MLTI conference in Orono. It was incredible. She did a fantastic job. It was exciting to see on Twitter other schools saying, I can't believe this 8th grader is presenting this way. What an amazing talk she did about being a leader and taking advantage of every opportunity. And I thought she did such a great job saying, I'm from Sacopee Valley and I've taken advantage of every opportunity, and I'm a leader and my future is incredibly bright. So it was very powerful.
Nancy?
Did they videotape that?
Yes,
Can we get it?
that's a fabulous idea. Yes.
Because I was very disappointed in what the DOE put out. They focused on the fact that the colleges were there recruiting kids and
Yeah.
not the kids themselves.
I will bring that to share and maybe.
That would be
yes.
great. Thank
And
you.
maybe Abby and her family can attend our next meeting, because it would be nice to recognize her again. She deserves lots of recognition.
Very good, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I go back too.
I started, sorry, Arthur, here we go.
So do we get any indication of why we did not receive the scholarship?
We will. We haven't yet. We will receive our feedback, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Sue? Anybody else want to go back? Okay, let's go forward. We have
One more piece of positive, Sacopee Valley High School boys, track state champions, in case you didn't see that in the Portland Press here. That's it, I promise, Arthur. Thought that was worth mentioning. All right.
very.
And Aiden Foley, we got honorable mention.
Yes, Judy
Aiden
brought that
Foley
article.
was honorably mentioned in yesterday's sports section of the Portland Press Herald for all of the events that he was successful in and helped our team get all those points. He should be coming in to close up tonight too, so we can congratulate him.
All right, Arthur, I promise, you go ahead.
All right, Wellness Committee report on May 9th.
Yes, we had a very brief meeting to approve the updated nutrition guidelines that we received from the federal government, and they were added to our SAD wellness policy thanks to Mr. Melanson, and that was approved.
Any questions for Judy on the wellness report? Okay. Facilities reports, Construction Transportation Safety Committee report on May 8th.
So I'll start off and pass it over to Sue Melanson, so I'll just do the quick updates. Window project at our elementary school is progressing. The windows have been ordered. Eric Anderson will be installing them at the conclusion of the school year. Johnny Cervantes is chasing some asphalt estimates, some design service estimates, some efficiency main lighting estimates, and I thought I'll save that for Sue Melanson, but we had a young lady come to I thought, a quality presentation there as well. Johnny and his team are very busy getting ready for graduation, trying to make our facilities look very presentable for the crowds that will be here for those events. And then I'll turn it over to Chair Melanson to carry forward from there.
The presentation that Carl referred to was given by Olivia Marion, who is a 7th grade Girl Scout, and she's working for her Silver Award and would like to build a Gaga court outside the Sacopee Valley Middle School. She stated to the committee that at recess time, the only things to do are basketball, which is limited to the people that are playing, four square, which is for little kids, and throwing rocks. So she wants to offer an option by building a wooden octagonal court that in which is played a game that's similar to dodgeball, and up to 20 players can play at a time, and it's a very fast-paced game. And she had a brief video showing how the game is played and the rules, and her job would be to solicit donated materials and labor to build the court. The committee talked about it and approved it, and it will be installed over the summer before the start of school. We also talked about the elementary school playground. Suzanne, would you like to?
Sure, I don't know if you can see very well, but these are all of the pieces of equipment that we are looking at and we believe we can afford to place on our pre-K and our regular full-size playground that we've been talking about it. We're bringing back the teeter-totters that some people would remember. We're bringing back a 3-panel climbing wall, and you can climb on both sides of that. We're super excited about it. And this was all collected from feedback from students. They wrote opinion essays on the pieces of equipment that they would like to see on their playground. Mrs. Melanson could speak to them. They were, I thought, very well done, and they really were sensible and realistic, and they tried very hard to talk about why they thought we should have some of these pieces, like for the teeter-totter, a student row, because it would help make them be better teammates and work on teamwork. So they did some really great thinking. This is a 5-spin. We all know that young students like to spin, so they get, I think it seats 6 students. We have a riding animal, so it's a bouncy animal that students will be able to use. We have another slide, some more climbing equipment, a school bus that students will be able to do some imaginative play. The piece that's not on this proposal that we're hoping to add because PTC has secured some funds is a very similar piece that is the shape of a fire truck. So I think our playground in the fall is going to be really incredible and a great place for our students. So we're presenting this much more in detail at the next construction committee meeting, looking for their support to move forward.
This is all pretty much done with grant money, though.
Yes. Grant money and the funding that Mrs. Day helped us secure through the Modern Woodman Financial.
And donations,
So,
right.
yes, donations.
The project that Sue had mentioned, is that going to require paving, building, construction, excavating?
There's not paving involved with it. It's going to be on a sandy surface. And there is construction involved, and she is responsible for getting that done.
So this is not part of the school board budget?
No, this is her project for the Girl Scouts.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So going back to the playground thing, one of the other things that we're talking about is a sledding hill that would give the children something to do in the winter. And all of these different pieces of equipment, we have to commit the money by June 30th. And the entire thing will be completed by the end of, during the summer, in time for school to open. We also, we never got to talking about the 10-year plan because we had so many other things going on. But we'll be addressing that again at the next meeting, and we're going to be using the update that's dated April 10th, and we're hoping that we'll be able to complete all of the update on that 10-year plan. A couple of the other things that we talked about were the elementary school garden. We had considered moving the garden because there were a lot of issues with mice getting into the portable classrooms, and we came to the conclusion, Mr. Miller and Mr. Haggerty and Mrs. Tracy presented to the committee, and we decided that it would be very much more difficult to move the garden because of perennial plantings and some trees in there. So to take care of the problem, we will move the compost unit. And that should take care of that issue. That's about it. I was elected chairman again this year.
Any questions for Sue? Okay. Sue, superintendent's report.
Just some reading for the folks watching, so I'll do one together. Accepted resignation from Amy Wentworth, grade 1 teacher at Sacopee Valley Elementary School, but if you look down, it did not take Sue Day very long. Amy Wentworth has now been hired as a Title I educational technician at our elementary school. Same as Mark Miller, that took about 1 month. Mark Miller, if you see his appointments, he resigned last month, retired. He will be a Title I educational technician as well. Other resignations, Charlotte Cook, high school English teacher, Miles Gervais, high school Latin teacher. We have already advertised both of those internally, and we'll put those out to the world by the end of the week. And last appointment, Heath Cormier, who is also filming next door, JV football. That is the news from the superintendent's chair.
Dr. Landry, can I interrupt you for a second?
Of course you can, Ms. Day.
Mrs. Perkins noted that we should also congratulate, it was in Principal Lane's report for the middle school, but Abigail Paulding, who is one of our middle school students, was first place in Maine for the stock market game. So she went with her gifted and talented teacher to be presented. She wrote an essay, I think it was part of an essay that she had to do. So congratulations to Abigail Paulding.
Thank you,
Also,
Ms. Day.
no,
We're
thank you,
very.
Mrs.
This is the night of all good news. We're winning this, that, awards. Terrific.
Good school to go to. Okay, we'll go to the policy report. Policy committee report on the, oh, I'm sorry, Brad.
Good question. I think it's wonderful that we're hiring Mr. Miller and Ms. Wentworth as educational technicians. I guess my following question to that would be, have we had applications to those jobs that are advertised?
Which jobs? The grade 1 or?
Grade 1.
Yes, so that'll be coming later in this meeting, Mr.
It will be.
Perkins. Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, of course.
So a policy committee report on the May 8th meeting.
I should have read the thing.
The only policy discussed was BBAB, student representatives to the board, which was slightly revised as to the procedure for choosing a student representative to the board. Art Melanson was reelected to chair the policy committee. So we have no policies recommending for first read. However, consideration to approve the following policies as a second reading and adoption: EHB, records management; GCFB, recruiting and hiring of administrative staff; JLCB, immunization of students; JLCC, communicable infectious diseases; and KHB, advertising in the schools. Moved by Judy,
Second.
seconded by Jolene. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Other action items, consideration to enter into executive session to discuss a personnel matter pursuant to 1 MRSA, Section 405-6A.
So moved.
So moved by
Second.
Diane, seconded by John. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? We'll go into executive session.
Okay,